Okay, so this is a guide of how to harvest your essays or collect all the essays that you're going to have to write for colleges and just have the Google Doc ready to go. You want to do this by this point around the end of September. Frankly, you kind of want to do it sooner, but hey, if you're watching now and you haven't done this yet, start doing it this weekend. But you want to create a Google Doc for each of your colleges and start populating each of the Google Docs with the prompts in them. By doing so, you kind of give yourself an eagle eye view of all the essays you're going to have to write. And as you start filling them out, you'll start to see how a lot of essays are similar in terms, or the prompts are similar, and you can start to recycle them. You remember the essays you sent to University of Florida, for example, doesn't have to be different from the essays you sent to Wesleyan. You could recycle essays between supplemental applications. You're more than welcome to do that. So I've already got us started on one of my students here. You create a Google Doc. Right now, this one's blank. I started with University of Florida, and I just Googled it. If you Google University of Florida prompts and you look for the 2022-2023, this is probably what's going to show up. I think this is from collegeessayadvisors.com. But here's the caveat to that. Here's the danger or the warning side. You can't always trust what you Google and what these like really helpful college admissions websites and prompts, like guides, what they give you. You can't trust that that's the prompt you have to write. Because some schools, I'd say maybe 30% or so of the schools, the prompt you have to write for that school changes depending on a certain set of factors, like what you choose as your department or your major choice. So let me teach you what you need to do. First and foremost, create a Google Doc for each of your schools, put in the deadline because, I don't know, it's helpful to just track it that way. And then when you're looking for the essays for the college, go directly to their website. So most of my students will be working on the Common App. If it's not on the Common App, it's a UT, University of Texas system, or Coalition or Squire, fine. But, it's the same deal. Just on the Common App here, let's look for University of Florida. So on the University of Florida, we go to application questions. Pay attention. Here's what you need to fill out. The first thing you need to fill out is the preferred start term, and that's going to give you fall 23. So you want to make sure that you're choosing the right terms to apply to. From there, there's going to be multiple other questions. I've realized you don't really need to answer most of those. You could just skip that. The start term is the most important one. And then it's the major choice, so the department that you're trying to apply to. So let's say we choose animal science, animal biology, or something like that. Okay. If we do that, then we can take a look and look for essays. Are there essays? I'm looking through each row now. There's no essays here. Emergency contact, no essays. Honor program consideration, important questions. And here they are. Please provide more details on your most meaningful commitment outside of the classroom, yada, yada, yada. And it's 250 words. Guys, pay attention to not just the prompt, but also the character or the word count. So we know that Florida has this question, which is exactly what we Googled. And again, like I said, 60-70% of the time you can Google it and you'll find it. Okay. And it's 250 words. So good job, Google search. That was ultimately correct. And the word count is good. Are there any other essays in here? Let's do Florida residency, conduct closure, certification. Just in case, let's go to program. Let's say you are interested in honors. I've seen how sometimes honors requires extra essays to write. And boom, the moment you click yes, do you see how there's an extra essay you need to write? Why is the University of Florida Honors Program important to you? So if you really wanted to go for that, do you see how Googling wouldn't have given you all the right prompts? You cannot trust Google to help you figure out what your prompts are going to be. Sorry, the OCD is kicking in here, and I just need to get this all organized. Like, I like doing it this way, where it's all bold. Please disregard. Sorry about that. Mundane activity has right. Okay, this was just an example. So these are the two essays that you would potentially write if you're applying to University of Florida, and you also wanted to consider the honors program. Whether you want to apply for the honors program is up to you. All right, but let me show you a different case where it gets a little bit more spicy and how sometimes you again can't even trust the system itself. A really good example of that, let's say, is Cornell. Or let's say Columbia. So if you go to, make sure you choose the right Columbia, guys. I'm going to do Columbia, New York, Columbia University. So you go to my colleges, and here it is, Columbia. Again, what do you need to fill out to make sure that you're triggering or you're prompting the right essay prompts for you? You want to put in the start term. You could put all this stuff in later. Really, it's just the start term. You check all that, click continue, and then you can check all that. That's not a big deal. You get to basically the major choice. So if you're going to do Columbia College, you're going to get a separate set of essays. So on the left-hand side, writing supplements, most students, they don't even fill out anything. They go straight to, oh, Jay, I saw that there's writing supplements and questions here. So if you take a look at that, you'll see that there's questions, list of books. We're interested in learning more about your interests, social media, blah, blah. That's like media content that you consume. Thrive in an equitable and inclusive community essay, 200 words. Columbia, we're considering aspect unique by why Columbia, 200 words. And then it's what simply brings you joy, 35 words. And then it's a research supplement. Now, I know that went by really quickly, but you need to trust me on this. It's missing an essay because we haven't put in a major yet. Watch this. The moment we put in Columbia College and let's say, I don't know, anthropology, it doesn't really matter. The moment you put in a major, let's go back to the question section and you'll see that a new essay has popped up. Where is it? Here it is. For applicants to Columbia College, please tell us from what current or past experiences attract you specifically to the area study you previously know in the application. 200 words. Okay, that was maybe hard to spot, but again, the essays will pop up based on what you answer prior. So in other words, if you want to be sure that you're getting all the essays that you need to write, you need to make sure that you're filling in the start term, and you need to make sure that you're choosing the major choice. And then start looking. Don't trust the system just because it says writing supplements. Jay, it says there's questions here. I just need to go there, right? Wrong. You need to make sure you fill out the other parts. It triggers other questions. And let me show you another thing, by the way. Notice how I was looking through every single nook and cranny. And the reason why is because of Harvard and schools like Harvard. Some schools like Harvard have hidden essays in sections where you don't expect them to be. So for example, I've already added Harvard here. Let's put in a start term, fall 2023, and let's go continue. And let's choose an academic program. Let's say computer science. Doesn't really matter. Okay. But look right here. We have a separate writing section for Harvard and questions, but within the application questions section, there's an essay, 150 words. Your intellectual life may extend beyond. It's not really an essay. Yeah, I'd consider it an essay. Now continue. We're in the activity section of the application questions still. We're not in the writing supplements. Okay. In the application questions, look. Another essay from Harvard. Please briefly elaborate one of your extracurricular activities or work experiences. 150 words. So what am I trying to say about this case? You have to look through every row. Contacts, family. You have to be diligent. You have to look through each row to see if there's an extra essay that you have to write. Okay. So in sum, one more time, please, when you are harvesting or actually let's start from the beginning, create a Google Doc, create a Google folder and Google Docs for each of your schools. Then go to your application itself, okay? Fill out the following. If it's on the Common App, fill out the start term and fill out the academic major choice. You could scroll, fill out the major choice. Then start looking for essays. The Harvard point, some essays are hidden in the worst places that you might expect. So be diligent and look through every row. All right, I thought that was going to be something that many of my students needed at this point. If you haven't created a Google Doc for each of your colleges yet for writing essays or harvested the essays, I call this harvesting your essays for my students, then you should probably do so in the next week or so. This will be a huge project that may be cumbersome at first and really tedious, but once you do, I promise you that it's going to make you feel so much more organized and aware and in charge. And you start to see like all the essays that become recyclable, and it'll be a tremendous relief to your psyche. I promise you this. So students, if you haven't done this yet, get this done now. All right, guys, until next one.